Welcome everyone to today's deep dive. We're about to really get into something that I think is genuinely going to change how a lot of you think about automation and workflow building too. And frankly, just getting back some hours from those repetitive tasks we all deal with. So our mission today, it's pretty focused. We're unpacking Blotato'S brand new official N8N node. And look, this isn't just, another API hookup. We want to explore exactly why this is such a big deal for bringing sophisticated AI into your day-to-day work, into your projects, really your whole operational setup.
Oh, it absolutely is a big deal. Yeah. From my perspective, these kinds of integrations, these foundational ones, especially for platforms as flexible and powerful as N8N, they often signal something bigger, It's when powerful tech, like the kind of AI we're talking about, starts moving beyond the labs, beyond the super early adopters, and becoming, tools that are genuinely accessible, that get adopted into the mainstream. It's more than just convenience, really. It's about taking down the barriers bit by bit that stop truly smart automation from being everywhere.
Okay, let's definitely unpack that and maybe set the scene a little first. For those of you listening who maybe haven't bumped into Blotato's before, they've really made a name for themselves with their AI automation tools. The core idea is helping creators, solopreneurs, teams, basically helping them scale faster, get more done, and crucially, do it without needing to become like a coding expert. It's all about efficiency, smart automation, making AI productive. But before this official node landed, what was it actually like? If you wanted to connect Blotato'S AI smarts with your N8N workflows, what did that usually involve for someone trying to get those two systems talking?
That's a great question, and it really gets to the art of why this is such a big deal, as you said. Before this, if you wanted Blotato'S intelligence inside your N8N flow, you were generally looking at a few options, none of them exactly ideal. You might have been wrestling with custom scripts, which means writing code, right? Python, JavaScript, whatever you use, just to handle passing data back and forth. Or, probably more common, you were making direct API calls. And look, I know a lot of your listeners are comfortable with APIs, but still, that means really digging into Blotato'S specific API docs, figuring out how to structure the request just right, handling the authentication tokens securely, which is always a thing, then parsing the responses, often complex JSON, and, handling potential errors gracefully.
Right. So even if you know APIs, it wasn't just a quick copy-paste job. It was like a mini project just to get the connection working reliably.
Exactly that. It wasn't copy-paste. It was active development work. Yeah. And let's not forget the community workarounds, too. People build clever things, but they're just inherently less stable sometimes. Harder to debug if something goes wrong, and they can easily break when either Blotato's or N8N updates. The manual effort involved was pretty significant. You had to manage all the authentication stuff yourself, keep those API keys safe, maybe refresh tokens. It just took, a non-trivial amount of effort to get it all lined up and working reliably. It wasn't impossible, no, but definitely not straightforward. Added this layer of just operational drag. It's interesting. Some industry folks say this kind of friction, this integration hassle, is actually a huge silent killer for new tech adoption. People want the power, but they get stuck in the plumbing, Now, with the official node, poof, all that friction just vanishes. It really is plug and play. Install it, connect your account once, and you're immediately plugged into Blotato'S brain, basically. None of that complex middleware needed.
Plug and play. Moving from custom code and messing with auth tokens to something that simple. Yeah, that really does sound like a world of difference. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for me. I can almost picture, a lot of listeners right now, maybe it's late, maybe they're staring at the N8N workflow on their screen. They've built this beautiful automation, right? Pulling data from everywhere, maybe building out an AI assistant pipeline. And then, bam, they hit that point. They realize they need a specific AI capability right there inside the flow. Now, before this Blotato'S node, you mentioned patching things together wasn't ideal. But for an N8N user, someone used to building powerful stuff, was it really that much of a pain? What made those older ways so frustrating? And how does this new node fix that beyond just making the connection easier?
That's a really key distinction, because it wasn't just about connecting to an AI. It was about connecting to the right kind of AI efficiently. Those older solutions, they worked, kind of, but often they were incredibly clunky. You might have tried, say, wiring things up with generic AI services, making direct calls to, OpenAI's API or something similar. The issue there is you're basically reinventing the wheel every single time you need an AI task done. You're writing the same kind of API calls over and over, handling prompts, dealing with responses, trying to manage the context so the AI knows what's going on. You end up building like a mini app inside each N8N node just to get the AI to do one specific thing.
Got it. So it's not just getting some text back, it's getting Smart, reliable, context-aware text back without having to code all that logic yourself every time.
Precisely. And besides just the clunkiness of writing repetitive code, those generic ways often missed out on the really unique context-specific AI features that Blotato'S specializes in. I mean, things like their pre-built prompt templates. So the AI already kind of knows how to approach tasks like summarizing an article or writing a product description. Saves you tons of guesswork trying to craft the perfect prompt. Then there's the persona handling, which is really powerful for consistency. You tell the AI to be a concise analyst or a friendly support agent or whatever, and it sticks to that voice automatically. Great for brand consistency. And the multi-step reasoning, where the AI can actually break down a complex request into smaller steps, figure them out, and then put together a final answer. Instead of you needing to manually chain multiple simple calls together, these features, they just massively boost the quality, the reliability, and honestly, the usefulness of what the AI gives you. So the new Blotato node, it solves all this because you just drag it into your N8N flow. You can figure it right there. You never leave the N8N environment. So you get huge convenience, plus all that enhanced functionality that generic calls just don't offer unless you build a ton of custom stuff around them. It's like getting a specialist instead of a generalist.
That makes total sense. You're not just getting an AI, you're getting Blotato'S specialized AI with its built-in smarts, those personas, templates, dropped right where you need it. Okay, that sounds incredibly versatile. So let's get practical. What are some real-world examples? What can people actually do with this Blotato node inside AN? Give us some scenarios where it really acts like that Swiss Army knife for automation you mentioned, solving problems that maybe seemed too hard or too expensive before.
Absolutely. Yeah, think of it unlocking this new layer of intelligent automation pretty much anywhere in a business. Take content automation, for instance. Imagine an N8N workflow. It watches RSS feeds for new articles in your niche, pulls the relevant bits, then boom, uses the Blotato node to auto-generate draft blog posts, or social media captions, maybe different ones for Twitter versus LinkedIn, or even personalized client emails referencing that new content, all inside that one N8N workflow. The AI does the creative work, adapts its output, massively speeding up your content process.
Wow, okay. So it's not just spinning generic text. It's actually synthesizing, adapting, creating relevant stuff for different channels. That's a big leap. What about customer-facing things?
Exactly. Or think about customer support. An incoming message, maybe from chat or email, triggers an N8N flow. The message goes to the Blotato node. The AI instantly figures out, is this billing, tech support, a sales lead, feature request? Then it could draft a smart, context-aware reply using your knowledge base. Or, if it's too tricky or sensitive, it smartly escalates it to the right human agent, and it gives the agent a summary, maybe suggested next steps. That cuts down response times hugely, improves the customer experience.
That sounds amazing for support teams, cutting triage time, giving agents AI backup.
Yeah.
What about less languagey stuff like data?
Great question. So, data cleanup. This is a huge one. Imagine you get messy data all the time. Unstructured text, weirdly formatted numbers, CSVs from different sources. Before you can even use that data, analyze it, put it in your CRM, whatever, it needs cleaning. Standardizing. You could feed that raw, messy data into the Blotato node, and it just structures it, pulls out names, addresses, product IDs, standardizes formats, fixes common typos, maybe even figures out missing info. Turns that data chaos into usable order for your other systems, saves just countless hours of manual entry or complex script writing.
So no more fighting with like NYC versus New York City or different date formats. The AI just handles it. That's huge for anyone dealing with messy inputs.
Exactly. And one more quick one, interview or research agents. For anyone doing research, maybe summarizing interviews, you feed in your questions, or maybe a whole bunch of research material reports, articles. The Blotato node can summarize it all, pull out key themes, find specific answers to your questions, even generate nicely organized reports, maybe formatted for a presentation. It automates that whole synthesis and organization part, saves hours of reading and note-taking.
Wow, those are seriously powerful examples. It really shows how much time and just mental energy this could take out of a workflow. And the key thing, like you said, is it's drag and drop, configure it once, integrate smoothly. That really hammers home the point. You're not juggling APIs and custom code anymore. You just set it up, and it becomes this reliable, intelligent piece of your system. No constant babysitting. Now, for people already deep into N8N, they know it's awesome, right? Open source, super flexible, great for developers. But like you hinted at, that flexibility, sometimes it leads to complexity, kind of a double-edged sword. So for those seasoned N8N users, the ones who think, hey, I've already got my AI stuff figured out, how does this Blotato node specifically help them? And maybe on the flip side, is there a risk here? By hiding all that underlying complexity, could users maybe lose touch with what's happening? Could it lead to over-reliance or maybe make troubleshooting harder if something does go slightly wrong down the line?
That's a really critical point, and it gets to what advanced users often think about, yeah? And its flexibility is its superpower, no doubt. But it absolutely can lead to complex moments, especially trying to weave in AI reliably. So the Blotado node, it essentially smooths over that complexity. Specifically at the integration layer for the AI part, it gives N8N users direct access to really capable AI automation with genuinely zero extra coding for the AI bit itself. Now, your point about abstraction, yes, it does abstract the raw API calls, but for many N8N users, that's actually a feature, not a bug. And just to be clear, zero extra coding is about the AI part. You're still using N8N's visual builder for the workflow logic, which for this audience is already way simpler than writing code from scratch. The node lets you focus on what the AI should do, not how to technically connect it if something goes wrong. Troubleshooting is usually within the N8N workflow logic, or maybe a clear error from the node, not hunting for a typo in some custom script you wrote months ago. The advantages this brings are pretty big. First, much faster prototyping. You can try out AI ideas, tweak prompts, plug them into flows in minutes, not hours or days. Speeds up development hugely, lets you test ideas quickly. Second, and maybe just as vital, less debugging. Oh man, those late nights staring at the screen. Was it my code? The AI API? Just me being tired? We've all been there, right? When you're not constantly debugging custom scripts for your AI tasks, your workflows naturally become more stable, more predictable, and that leads straight to more reliable workflows overall. Consistent, dependable automation. The hidden cost of flaky workflows, that frustration, lost productivity, it's massive. This node really aims to cut that down, give you tools you can actually trust.
Less debugging at 2 a.m. Yeah, that sounds like a universal dream for anyone building automations, no matter their skill level. So zooming out, what does this all mean, bigger picture? This feels like more than just, a convenient hookup. It feels like a more fundamental shift in how we think about using AI inside our automated systems. What's the kind of strategic shift we're looking at here beyond just making things easier?
You've nailed it. That's exactly the shift that's happening. And it's a really profound one. We're basically moving from seeing AI as this standalone thing, a tool you go to, use for a task, then manually bring the results back into your workflow. We're moving towards AI as a core building block right inside the automation infrastructure itself. Think about it like this. Inside N8N, you have nodes for email, webhooks, databases, data transformation. These are just standard utilities now, right? With this Blotato node, AI is becoming one of those core fundamental pieces, a standard component you can just orchestrate like any other. And what's interesting too is that this kind of shifts the role of the person building the workflow. You're not just designing a sequence anymore. You're orchestrating intelligent agents, designing conversations with AI, not just giving rigid instructions. It brings this sort of prompt engineering at scale right into N8N, which is subtle, but really changes how you design automated intelligence. So the real power isn't just using AI on its own, it's the ability to combine AI with everything else your N8N flows can touch. Think about the new possibilities. Triggering smart, personalized AI responses when a new lead signs up from a form. Adapting the follow-up based on what the AI infers about them. Having AI automatically enrich your CRM data. Pulling in extra context from, public company info or social media mentions. Or building genuinely intelligent workflows that can maybe learn and adapt over time. Making decisions, taking actions based on dynamic AI analysis, all orchestrated right there in an N8. It really changes the architecture, making systems not just efficient, but adaptive and intelligent.
That's a really powerful way to put it. AI moving from an add-on to a core intelligent utility, changing the workflow designer from just an architect to an orchestrator.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can totally see how that would be especially huge for, say, creators, solopreneurs, freelancers, folks who are always looking for ways to leverage their time better, scale up without hiring a massive team or becoming a coding wizard. How does this node specifically become like a time multiplier for them? Especially those wearing, a dozen different hats.
Oh, absolutely. For those groups, time isn't just money, right? It's usually their scarcest resource. The Blotato N8N node acts as this massive time multiplier because it just removes that huge burden. The technical integration hassle, the constant need to patch things together with code or awkward workarounds. Think about it. A solopreneur might have previously sunk hours, maybe even days, just trying to get an AI to talk reliably to their CRM or their email tool or their website CMS. That's time not spent creating content or selling or planning their next move. Now with this node, that big technical hurdle, it's mostly gone. So they can put their energy, their creativity into what actually grows their business. designing the systems, the business logic. They can focus on the what and why. What kind of content do I need? Which customer questions should the AI handle? How can I improve my data process? Instead of banging their head against the wall over how do I connect this API or why is this JSON wrong? Okay. The AI does the heavy lifting, the writing, the analysis, the smart decisions, cleanly, effectively. N8N orchestrates the whole dance, making sure tasks happen in order, data flows right. And Blotato ensures those AI tasks are done well with all its specialized smarts. It really is like, hiring a super reliable digital assistant, one who never sleeps, never complains about boring tasks, and comes preloaded with intelligence. It frees up the human to focus on strategy, growth, the creative stuff. It multiplies their impact without them needing to work more hours.
That's a brilliant analogy. A tireless, smart assistant built right into your operations, letting you focus on the bigger picture. Okay, so to wrap up this deep dive then, Blotato has dropped its official N8N node, and it really tackles that headache of messy API connections. It seamlessly embeds powerful, context-aware AI right into your automation flows. Bottom line, it makes N8N more powerful, definitely more accessible, and honestly probably more fun to use, bringing advanced AI to your fingertips with way less friction and more reliability.
Exactly. And it's more than just convenience, really. It's a genuinely profound step forward. The future of work, it isn't just about automating single, repetitive things anymore. It's about building intelligent systems. Systems that can think, respond, adapt right alongside us, augmenting what we humans can do, letting us focus on higher-level stuff, creativity. This node, it's a significant move in that direction, pushing us towards more sophisticated, deeply integrated automation where AI isn't some external tool you have to wrestle with. It's just part of the fabric of how things get done seamlessly.
Couldn't agree more. So if you've been kind of watching automation from the sidelines, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed by the complexity or intimidated by trying to integrate AI, this development, this might just be the nudge you needed to start building those truly intelligent systems. Think about it. What new possibilities open up for you, for your work, when AI isn't some separate tool you have to fight with, but it's just an inherent integrated part of your whole process? Could you launch that next product faster? Automate your entire content schedule. Build a personalized learning system even. Definitely explore what you could build with this powerful new capability. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll catch you next time.